Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Stacks 2.0 launch event. My name is Diwaker. I'm the head of engineering here at Hiro PBC. As Munib was just saying, today is a huge milestone for the entire Stacks ecosystem. Stacks 2.0, if you go back to the initial commits, has been 2+ years in the making. But in many ways, we're just getting started on this journey. So in this talk, I want to talk briefly about our lessons, some of the lessons we learned along the way, and looking ahead a little bit, what we can expect. But I want to first start with a quick review of what I'm calling the Stacks stack. Over the last year plus, there are a lot of things that have been built that I'm really proud to share. We've talked about them in the past, but I wanted to take a moment to present everything together to give you a sense of the breadth and the depth of the work that has happened. So first, we have the Stacks blockchain itself. Munib also talked about this. There are tons of resources available online. So I'm going to breeze through these a little bit. There's a lot of new ideas in this blockchain. It's a clean slate implementation. You can look at the lines of code to get a sense of the work that has gone into it. And a lot of these new ideas, they anchor us in Bitcoin and really give us the foundation to bring decentralized apps and smart contracts to Bitcoin. Munib talked about Clarity as well. We're really, really proud of the work and really excited about the possibilities that Clarity brings into the ecosystem, and look forward to other platforms and projects supporting Clarity as well. On top of the Stacks blockchain proper, we have a suite of developer-friendly APIs called the Stacks blockchain API. So as you can imagine, a blockchain is only optimized for certain kinds of operations and certain kinds of queries. So if you're building a wallet or an explorer or some other decentralized application, you might want to access the data in the blockchain in different ways. And the Stacks blockchain API makes that really, really easy. We're also one of the first projects to implement the full Rosetta specification. So if you're building a Rosetta compliant wallet or explorer or an application, you should be able to seamlessly integrate against the Stacks blockchain API. This also uses a pretty interesting capability that is built into the blockchain. So there is an event streaming capability that feeds data into the Stacks blockchain API. And we think that there are lots of other interesting use cases that this event stream mechanism can power. Next up, we have Stacks.js and the Stacks CLI. So Stacks.js is a modular set of JavaScript libraries that have everything you need to interact with the Stacks blockchain. You can pull in whatever packages you need. There is also a command line application, sort of a Swiss knife tool to interact with the platform in interesting ways. So very excited about this as well. We previously had different libraries. Now we've brought them all under this one Stacks.js umbrella and refactored them so that they're much more usable and pluggable. We're also thrilled about a brand new, beautiful Explorer for the Stacks blockchain. This is built on top of the Stacks blockchain API. And I encourage everyone to take a look at it once the Mainnet Explorer goes live later today. It really leverages some of the capabilities that are available in our platform. On the Stacks blockchain, for example, you can view the source code of the contract, and it's not that you have to verify it sort of out of band because the blockchain is storing some other version. The source code is pulled directly from the blockchain itself. You can also look at the input parameters and results of contract calls. There's a built-in sandbox for debugging and tons of other nifty features as well. So very excited about that. And then finally, we have the Stacks wallet. So we have a desktop version, cross-platform, that you can use to safely store, transfer, and stack your STX. There's also a Stacks wallet for the web, which is a browser extension currently available for Firefox and Chrome in developer preview that we think can really become the gateway to DeFi and decentralized apps on top of Stacks. So we're really looking forward to where these go as well. So with that sort of quick overview, let me talk a little bit about some of our lessons learned We're a little bit short on time, so I'll try to keep this brief. Feel free to follow up with me afterwards if you're curious or have more questions. So the first thing that we kind of really benefited from is approaching our mainnet launch via these phased testnets. So we've had public testnets live since April of last year. And with each testnet phase, there was a discrete set of functionalities, capabilities, constraints, requirements that we would introduce. And not only did that give us a lot of focus in development and testing, but as we opened these testnets up, as we had our community testing it out, it was really good for everyone to kind of be aligned on, what are the things that are new, what are the things that need more attention, what are the things that we are testing. So taking this phased approach towards the mainnet launch has been very, very useful. Finally, next up, with a project of this magnitude, especially when you have a lot of open-ended research problems, really greenfield effort, a lot of unknown unknowns, projecting and communicating accurate timelines is always challenging. We had ideas, some of which had very complex implementations, but then we also had shifting requirements, a situation where we are developing multiple products every layer in the stack, and they have intermingling dependencies. And I think it's a sort of natural tendency to crave certainty. So one of the things that we struggled with was to just figure out how do we create and set accurate timelines and communicate them, because even if we choose not to communicate a specific date, people will fill that void in with some dates regardless. And so some of the things that worked for us was to proactively fight optimism and availability bias in our own planning and estimation. And we've gotten much better at that over time. Really working to chase down ambiguities. If you let sort of ambiguities linger on until the very last minute, or if you have some assumptions that are not made explicit, then different people are working with different assumptions, so making those very, very explicit. More tactical things, like in our planning and estimation, just factoring in iteration time for PR. So we realized we were pretty good at estimating how much work implementing something would take, but then for the time for it to actually go through reviews, iteration, and merge, that would make it the whole thing a lot longer. And then really just being very transparent and over communicating. I feel very proud of the way our ecosystem operates, the level of transparency and openness that we have. And even when we have delays or changes to the timelines, just being very open, very transparent, and over communicative about it has really helped. Very quickly, a few other things. Investing in tooling and automation. This seems obvious and is as true as it sounds. Early on in our testnet, every time there was a problem, to reset the testnet would require a manual process. And then over time, we automated it to a point where it was almost a push button reset of the testnet, which was very, very useful. Crypto moves very quickly, so just having flexibility and agility sort of built into how we operate, how we think in the teams. One thing that I personally found very helpful was just to have a set of guiding principles that we could fall back on. We're often operating in an environment where you don't have perfect information and you need to make decisions. Conflict is inherent in some of these choices. So having some guiding principles that you can fall back on is very useful. So in our case, can't be evil, both in terms of our design choices, our technical choices, but also other decisions, is a good guiding principle that we often fall back on. Operating the open is another interesting one. We made the transition from having a lot of our communication be in private Slack channels to fully moving to Discord over time. And I realized that operating in the open is not something that you can just do half-heartedly. You really have to go all in and fully embrace feedback and input from the community, whether it's positive or it's critical. In fact, a lot of some of the best ideas that we had and a lot of the features were inspired by community conversations. So in particular, in Clarity, there's a feature to introduce new functionality in Clarity without requiring a hard fork of the chain. And that was inspired by some of our community members. That's where the ideas came from. So really just embracing the community feedback and truly living, operating in this open mindset. All right, looking ahead a little bit, as with a project of this magnitude and scale and complexity, we should expect some rough edges that we hope to polish off in the coming weeks and months. Then we are working on the porting over the BNS system. So this is the name registration mechanism, both the on-chain names and the off-chain names. So this work is nearly done. It's not available today, but will be coming live very soon thereafter. It will be available as part of the Stacks blockchain API. More work on the wallet. There is a forum post about Stacks 2.1. So if you're not haven't read that, please take a look at it. That's scheduled for maybe 6 to 7 months from now. And for Hiro PBC, really the focus is just going to be on developers. I want to end with just recognizing the people behind the project. I personally want to thank everyone in the engineering, product, and design team at Hiro PBC. I won't go through all the names here, but thank you to each and every one of these people. They've put in a ton of work to bring the whole ecosystem to where we are. Thank you all. It's a pleasure to work with everyone here. And then finally, I want to thank the entire Stacks community. Projects in crypto are really powered by their community. So we wouldn't be here without the whole community, whether it is technical contributions or non-technical contributions. The community is what keeps the project going. So thank you all.